Mirror glaze is stunning and delicious, and it's super easy to do. When you assemble your cake, choose a cake board that's the same size as your cake, or trace around your cake pan and trim the board to be the same size. Attach the first layer of cake to the board with a dot of buttercream, which will act as glue. Make sure the layers of cake are lined up directly above each other so that the cake doesn't lean to one side. Use tape to attach the cake on its small cake board onto a larger cake board so that you can frost it more easily. Shorter cakes are easier for mirror glazes, and I'll show you why later in the process. A crumb coat is really important for mirror glaze cakes because it traps any crumbs that come off the cake, so that then when you spread on your final coat of frosting, there won't be any crumbs in that, and you'll have a very smooth surface on the cake. It doesn't matter if you can see the cake layers through the frosting, it's going to be covered up, but it needs to provide a neat shape for the cake. The mirror glaze will sit on top of this frosting, but it only provides a very thin layer, so you'll notice any imperfections in the frosting. And that's why you want the frosting to be as smooth as possible. Pay special attention to the top of the cake, swiping sideways with an offset spatula to create a flat top with sharp edges over onto the sides of the cake. After frosting the cake, chill it in the fridge for at least an hour, or ideally overnight, to set the frosting. This mirror glaze is very easy to make. All you need is white chocolate and cream at a 2-to-1 ratio, which means you'll need double the amount of white chocolate compared to cream. For this 4-inch cake, I'm using about 100 grams of white chocolate and 50 grams of cream, which should be heavy whipping cream or double cream. You can prepare this in separate bowls for each colour or divide it up later. Put the bowl or bowls in the microwave at 80% power for 1 minute, so that you don't overheat it. Stir the chocolate until it's completely melted with no lumps to achieve a very smooth mirror glaze on the cake. You can microwave it for another 15 seconds at a time if there are still lumps. Now, this is really important. To tint the glaze, you need oil-based colours, not the gel or liquid colours you use to tint buttercream. Those have water in them and they'll cause the chocolate to seize. With oil-based colours, you can use a lot of them without affecting the consistency of the glaze. If you want a true white glaze, you can use white icing colour. Wait for the glaze to come to room temperature because if it's still warm, it will melt the frosting on the cake and ruin those sharp edges around the top of the cake. Now separate the cake from the larger cake board, sliding an offset spatula in between the large cake board and the small cake board that's the same size as the cake, and lift the cake up and place it on a wire rack over a baking tray or a bowl. You can touch the cake because the frosting has set, so it's firm. Pour the glaze over the cake, switching back and forth between colours to create really fun effects. The consistency of the glaze is really important. If it's too thick, it won't run down the sides of the cake and you'll create some sort of a drip instead. If it's too liquid, it will be very thin and it won't create a bold colour or be as shiny. If you're enjoying this tutorial, click the subscribe button for a new cake decorating tutorial every week, and check out my online cake school for lots of step-by-step classes for every level of cake decorating experience. If there are any bare spots near the bottom of the cake, where the frosting is visible, use a spoon to gently nudge the glaze to cover those areas. Refrigerate the cake until the glaze chills and gets a bit thicker so it's easier to move, but it will always be sticky so you won't be able to touch it. Choose a cake board or plate or platter to serve the cake on and carefully lift the cake up from the rack, still on its little cake board, and transfer it. Wow everyone with your shiny cake that only used 2 ingredients, and then slice into the cake and enjoy! Thanks for watching. Check out my online cake school for lots of courses and classes, and join my club to get access to them all.